Imagine just for a moment that love is not something you chase. It is not something you beg for, win, impress, or convince someone to give you. Imagine instead that love is drawn to you the way the dawn follows the night, quietly, naturally, inevitably. This is the truth most people overlook. They struggle, they worry, they wonder why affection feels distant. But love isn't something you earn. It's something you reveal from within yourself. And today, I want to show you how to awaken that power so deeply that the one you desire cannot help but feel drawn to you with warmth and sincerity. The secret begins with understanding that everything in your outer world reflects your inner state. What you imagine with feeling becomes the reality you walk into, not by force, not by manipulation, but by the quiet certainty of faith. When you assume the feeling of being loved, chosen, and cherished, the world bends to that assumption. People respond to you differently. Their hearts open, their behavior shifts. They feel something around you they can't explain, but they don't want to lose. That is the energy that makes someone fall in love deeply. There is a simple truth that echoes throughout time. As you believe, so it becomes. Not as you hope, not as you wish, but as you believe. When you accept in your imagination that you are the one they love, the one they think about before they sleep, the one they long for, your inner world begins to rewrite the script, and your outer world follows like a shadow. Consider how powerful imagination truly is. Think of a moment in your past when someone you cared for looked at you with affection. Maybe they smiled at you softly. Maybe they held your hand. Maybe they spoke your name in a way that warmed your chest. Feel that memory for a moment. Notice what rises in your heart, that warmth, that sweetness, that deep sense of being valued. This is the vibration that creates love in your world. When you can summon that feeling deliberately, you begin shaping the future. There is a passage that speaks of calling things that are not as though they already are. It reminds you that creation begins in the unseen. Love takes form first in your imagination. Before someone speaks the words, before they send the message, before they show the affection, the seed is planted in consciousness. When you feel chosen in your imagination, you become chosen in your experience. People think love is unpredictable. They think attraction is mysterious. They believe feelings are fragile and uncontrollable. But your inner world is the true cause of everything you receive. If you want someone to fall in love with you deeply, your task is not to change them. Your task is to change the way you see yourself in relation to them. When you see yourself as loved, their heart naturally shifts to match your belief. Imagine the person you desire. See them not as distant or uncertain. See them as someone whose heart is already tied to yours. Picture them looking at you with admiration, speaking to you with tenderness, seeking you with sincerity. Imagine them thinking about you throughout the day, feeling drawn to your presence, wanting to share their life with you. Let that image feel real, not as fantasy, but as something unfolding now. Your imagination is not a place to escape reality. It is the workshop where reality is crafted. There is a saying that perfect love casts out fear. When you feel secure within yourself, secure in your worth, secure in your place in their life, fear dissolves. And when fear dissolves, connection deepens. Clinginess fades, doubt fades, anxiety fades. What remains is the quiet confidence that your love is inevitable, and people are irresistibly drawn to confidence rooted in peace. Let me show you a simple example. Think of a time when you sensed someone admired you. Maybe they didn't say anything, but you felt it. You walked differently. You spoke with more ease. You carried yourself with more calmness. Your energy shifted before anything was said. That is the power of assumption. That same energy can be created by your imagination alone, and it will draw the person you love closer to you. Many people repeat affirmations without feeling them. They say the words but hold on to doubt. They imagine briefly, but then look for immediate results, and the moment they don't see change, they slip into disappointment. The key is not repetition. The key is feeling. One moment of vivid inner experience outweighs hours of empty words. When you imagine your person holding you, smiling at you, appreciating you, and you feel the warmth of that moment as if it is happening now, something shifts in the unseen. And that shift echoes into the outer world. Love responds to faith. And faith is simply loyalty to your unseen reality. You do not need to beg for their attention. You do not need to study their behavior. You do not need to fear losing them. Instead, settle into the state of being loved. Close your eyes and see the life you want with them as if you're remembering it, not imagining it. Let it feel familiar. Let it feel natural. Let it feel like something that already belongs to you. There is a verse about dwelling in the secret place of the Most High. That secret place is your imagination. It is where you and the one you love meet before the world sees it. It is where you reshape the story. It is where you claim what your heart longs for. When you go within and dwell in the feeling of being adored, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. Picture this. You wake up in the morning and feel the quiet joy of being loved. You walk with a lightness, knowing someone holds you dearly in their heart. Your energy changes. People sense it. The one you desire feels that pull toward you. They think about you more often. They wonder what is different about you. They feel safe with you. They feel drawn to you. They feel you in their spirit before they even act in the physical. That is how deep love is created, not from effort, but from energy. You are not trying to force someone to care about you. You are awakening the truth that already exists in consciousness. Love is not created, it is revealed. When you imagine with love, you awaken love. When you imagine with kindness, you receive kindness. When you imagine with faith, you attract someone who recognizes your worth. Let me give you something practical. Tonight, before sleeping, lie still for a moment. Quiet your breath. Bring the person you desire into your awareness. Imagine them close to you, not in longing, but in fulfillment. See their eyes softened with affection. Hear them speak to you gently. Feel their hand in yours. Experience the moment until your heart softens and your body relaxes. Drift into sleep carrying that feeling, and you will impress it upon your deeper mind. That deeper mind is the bridge between imagination and reality. When it accepts the feeling of being loved, the world begins to move in ways you cannot predict. People reach out, conversations shift, opportunities open. The person you love becomes more attentive, more affectionate, more connected, not because you pushed, but because you aligned your inner world with the outcome you desire. There is a quiet power in choosing love within yourself first. When you feel cherished, you attract cherishing. When you feel chosen, you attract someone who chooses you deeply. When you feel worthy, you attract someone who treats you with devotion. Love begins within you, and then it flows outward to the one whose heart aligns with yours. And here's the most beautiful truth. You do not need to worry about timing. What is aligned with your inner state must appear. Trust that the moment you accept love and imagination, it begins unfolding in your experience. Keep returning to the feeling. Keep nurturing the inner vision. Keep choosing the belief that you are loved beyond measure. In time, you will see the outer world rise to match the inner world you claimed. The person you desire will not just be attracted to you. They will feel deeply connected to you. They will feel at home with you. Their heart will recognize yours because you have already united with them in imagination. Love flows to the one who believes they are loved. So let that belief take root. Let it grow. Let it shape your days and soften your nights. When you carry the feeling of being loved, you become a beacon that draws the one you desire closer and closer until the love you imagined becomes the love you live. That is how you make someone fall in love with you deeply, by awakening the love within yourself first and letting the world mirror it back to you, through faith, through imagination, through the quiet certainty that what you feel as real becomes real. When you begin to live from the feeling that you are already loved, something remarkable happens inside you. Your energy becomes gentle, warm, and confident. People can sense it without you speaking a word. The person you desire, especially, begins to notice this shift. They may not understand why, but they feel safer around you. They feel more open with you. They feel pulled toward you in a way that feels natural rather than forced. This is the quiet magnetism that rises from inner certainty. You don't need to chase someone when you know they are already yours in consciousness. The moment you claim that inner union, the outer relationship begins forming. You might see small hints at first. A message, a glance, a renewed interest, a softened conversation. These are reflections of your inner work, signs that what you imagined is taking shape. Never underestimate these signs. They show you that your assumption is alive and working. Remember that love responds to the atmosphere you carry. If you hold fear, you create distance. If you hold doubt, you block affection. But when you hold the feeling of being chosen, the person you desire rises to meet that feeling. They begin showing up in ways that match the story you tell yourself internally. This is why it is so important to watch the conversations you have inside your mind. If your inner speech is filled with worry, replace it. Speak to yourself the way a deeply loved person would be spoken to. Hear someone telling you how much they appreciate you, how much they want you, how deeply they care about you. Let those words echo in your imagination until they feel natural. When the inner dialogue shifts, your outer world shifts with it. There is a verse that speaks of asking and believing that you have already received. This is not a suggestion to beg or plead. It is an invitation to step into the feeling of fulfillment. When you imagine your person choosing you fully and you rest in that feeling, you have already received in consciousness. The outer world simply plays catch-up. Think of someone who walks through life knowing they are loved. Their presence is calm, their smile feels real, their eyes have a softness to them. You can become that person right now. It begins with a single decision: to hold the inner vision as truth, to feel loved before anything changes on the outside, to trust that your imagination is not pretending but creating. You may have moments when old doubts try to rise again. That's normal. But remember, feelings are habits. You can teach your heart to trust love. Each time fear shows up, gently guide yourself back to the feeling of being adored. Remind yourself that the deeper mind responds to persistence, not perfection. Every time you choose love internally, you strengthen the bond you are creating. Imagine simple scenes that feel natural. Picture your person sitting with you quietly, talking and laughing. Picture them reaching for you, texting you, calling you, choosing you. Let these scenes feel ordinary, like warm memories instead of distant fantasies. The more natural they feel, the faster they manifest. Your imagination is not meant to be forced, it is meant to be enjoyed. Let the scenes unfold softly, let the feeling rise gently, let yourself rest in the sweetness of connection. When you enjoy your inner world, the outer world reflects that enjoyment. There is a quiet strength within you that may have been asleep for a long time. But as you imagine being loved, that strength awakens. You start to walk with more certainty. Your voice gains more softness. Your presence becomes nourishing. You become the kind of person whose energy is unforgettable. And that is what people fall in love with. Not the outer actions, but the inner atmosphere behind them. You don't need to become someone else to be loved. You don't need to change your personality, your appearance, or your behavior. You only need to nurture the inner belief that love is already yours. When you hold this inner assurance, everything else aligns effortlessly. This is the way love unfolds in consciousness. Slowly at first, then all at once. A shift in your energy, a shift in their attention, a shift in the way they speak to you, a shift in how close they feel. What seemed impossible becomes natural. What seemed distant becomes intimate. What seemed uncertain becomes undeniable. Every moment you relax into the feeling of being loved, you are shaping your world. Every moment you choose faith over fear, you are deepening the bond that is forming. Every moment you imagine with warmth, you are sending out a call that the one you desire cannot ignore. And without even trying, you become the person they feel drawn to, connected to, and safe with. The person who lives in their thoughts and in their heart. The person they want to choose deeply. As you continue to live from this inner state, you'll start to notice how your reactions change. Situations that once made you anxious begin to feel lighter. Moments that once made you doubt now become opportunities to reaffirm your inner truth. This shift is powerful because it no longer allows the outer world to dictate your worth. Instead, your worth radiates from within, shaping the outer world to match it. You might find yourself smiling for no reason. You might wake up with a gentle warmth around your heart. These are signs that your inner state is becoming stable, that the feeling of being loved is settling into the deeper layers of your mind. And when this inner stability forms, the person you desire feels it almost instinctively. They sense your confidence, your softness, your calm. They feel the shift even if you haven't said a word. Love grows in the presence of peace. When you stand in the certainty that you are chosen, the person you desire begins to relax into the connection. They no longer feel pressure or tension. They feel welcome. They feel drawn in. They feel an emotional pull they can't explain. This is the natural effect of aligning your inner world with the love you want. Let your imagination become a sanctuary, a place where doubts cannot enter, where fear does not speak. When you close your eyes and feel their arms around you, or hear them whisper your name with affection, you are not escaping reality. You are entering the true creative space where everything begins. Treat this inner space with reverence. It is the soil where love grows. When you imagine from a place of joy, your world responds with joy. When you imagine from a place of longing, you create more longing. This is why feeling is so important. If the feeling of fulfillment seems difficult to reach at first, start small. Imagine a simple moment of closeness. Imagine them thinking about you. Imagine them smiling at your message. These small scenes carry powerful emotional tones. Let them soften your heart until the deeper feeling arises naturally. There is a quiet promise written into the fabric of creation. What you hold in faith must appear, not because you forced it, but because your inner world is the blueprint. Once you accept being loved in consciousness, the outer world receives its instructions. In this process, be gentle with yourself. Love does not grow through harshness. It grows through kindness, patience, and softened imagination. Each time you return to the feeling, you are strengthening the connection. Each time you choose the inner vision over the outer appearance, you are shaping the future. You may notice a moment when the inner vision starts feeling more real than the old story. That is the turning point. When the inner world becomes your truth, the outer world begins transforming to match it. Your person may start giving you more attention. They may reach out unexpectedly. They may begin expressing emotions more openly. They may feel more comfortable sharing their time, their thoughts, and their heart with you. All these changes start within you. Love responds to love. When you radiate the feeling of being cherished, you become someone who naturally invites affection. You become someone whose presence feels comforting and magnetic. You become someone who feels like home. And the person you desire will notice. They will sense a different energy around you, something warm and familiar. They will feel drawn to you in quiet moments when their mind wanders. They will think of you with a tenderness they didn't expect. They may even wonder why their heart keeps returning to you. This is the invisible pull of your inner state. Your imagination is creating the path ahead. Each time you choose the inner feeling of fulfillment, you are guiding the story toward deeper connection. Each time you rest in the quiet certainty that you are already loved, you are opening the door for that love to express itself in the physical world. As this inner certainty grows, you begin to notice how your entire presence softens. You speak with more calmness, you listen with more care, and you carry a quiet glow that others naturally lean toward. This shift is never about pretending or acting differently. It's simply the natural expression of someone who feels secure within. When you feel loved inwardly, you stop searching outwardly, and that ease makes you incredibly attractive. Your person will feel this shift long before they ever say a word about it. People respond to the feeling tone behind your presence. If you hold a steady sense of being wanted, they sense it and begin to align with it. Their guard drops, their affection rises, their interest deepens. They won't know why they feel this growing pull toward you, but you will. You created it in the unseen. Your imagination is the first meeting place between you and the one you desire. When you imagine them speaking to you with openness, when you imagine their laughter mixing with yours, when you imagine the softness of their gaze, you are planting the seeds of the connection you want. These seeds grow quietly, but they grow steadily. And soon, the outer world begins to mirror what you've been nurturing within. One of the most powerful things you can do is to imagine scenes that feel ordinary and comforting. Rather than imagining dramatic moments, focus on simple ones. Sitting together, sharing a warm conversation, feeling their hand gently resting on yours. These simple scenes carry the deepest emotional truth. They reflect real intimacy, real connection, and real love. When you feel them as natural, your mind begins to accept that love as normal for you. There is a quiet strength in choosing to believe in the unseen. Faith is not loud. It doesn't force, push, or plead. It rests. It trusts. It holds the feeling of the desired outcome gently, knowing that the outer world must follow. And when you allow yourself to rest in the feeling of being deeply loved, your world begins to shift toward that feeling in ways you could never predict. Sometimes the outer world may show you moments that seem opposite of what you want. Someone may act distant. A conversation may be delayed. A message may not be answered right away. But these moments are not the truth. They are simply echoes of an old state that is dissolving. The more you remain loyal to your inner feeling, the faster those old echoes fade away. Your job is not to react to the outer world. Your job is to remain rooted in the inner truth you have chosen. When you stay connected to the feeling of being loved, you become unshakable, and this steadiness is what pulls your person closer. They feel your calm, your warmth, your quiet confidence. They feel the safety of your presence. And they begin to respond with their own softness. You'll start to notice that your thoughts about them become sweeter. Your inner conversations shift from worry to connection. You begin hearing them speak to you with affection in your imagination. You feel their appreciation. You feel their desire. These inner conversations are powerful because they reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes for love and start seeing yourself as someone who is loved. The moment you adopt this inner identity, everything changes. You step into the version of yourself who is cherished, and the world responds by treating you exactly that way. The person you desire starts showing you the same affection you've already been experiencing inwardly. They begin to mirror your new emotional state. They become more attentive, more open, more connected. It happens naturally because consciousness always expresses itself. In this process, you are never trying to control them. You are simply choosing the version of yourself who is deeply loved by them. And when you live from that version inwardly, the relationship begins to unfold outwardly in the same direction. Love is not something you chase. It's something you allow. It's something you become aligned with. And when your inner world is filled with the feeling of being adored, the outer world becomes a reflection of that adoration. As you continue to settle into this inner reality, you'll notice how your relationship with yourself transforms first. You start valuing your emotions more. You start treating your heart with more gentleness. You begin speaking to yourself in a kinder tone, and this inner tenderness becomes the very energy that draws someone into deeper love with you. People fall in love with a version of you that feels safe within their own skin. The person you desire will feel this inner change even from a distance. They will sense an emotional warmth around you, a calm gravity that pulls them without pressure. The more you live in this feeling of being adored, the more they will find themselves thinking about you at unexpected moments. Small things remind them of you. Quiet moments draw their mind back to you. They may even try to distract themselves, but their heart keeps circling back. This is not magic in the sense of tricks or manipulation. This is the natural response of consciousness to the state you occupy. When you embody the feeling of being deeply loved, you radiate it like a gentle light, and like all light, it attracts, it calls, it softens, it opens hearts. Your imagination becomes the bridge that brings your person closer, step by step. When you picture them smiling at your presence, you create an internal blueprint that the outer world follows. When you hear their affectionate words in your mind, you are shaping the tone of the connection before it appears physically. When you feel their arms around you in the quiet of your heart, you are building a vibration that they cannot resist. Even if they seem distant now, you do not need to be discouraged. Distance is not a sign of impossibility. It is simply a reflection of an old state that is already dissolving as you create a new inner pattern. The more you return to the feeling of closeness in your imagination, the more the physical relationship shifts in that direction. There may come a moment when you realize you're no longer waiting for them to choose you. You feel chosen already. You feel secure already. You feel loved already. And from this inner fullness, your energy becomes irresistible. People can feel when someone is no longer seeking validation outside themselves. They feel free to come closer. They feel welcomed rather than pressured. And the one you desire will feel this most strongly. Let your inner scenes evolve naturally. Some nights you might imagine them reaching for your hand. Other nights you might imagine a warm conversation or a simple quiet moment together. Whatever feels natural to you is the right scene. The power is not in the details, but in the feeling those scenes carry. Each time you imagine them with tenderness, you dissolve another layer of fear. Each time you choose inner connection over outer doubt, you strengthen the bond. Each time you fall asleep with the feeling of their love, you impress the deeper mind with the truth you have chosen. Your role in this process is not to force an outcome. It is to maintain the inner atmosphere that nurtures love. When you hold the feeling of union within yourself, the outer world gently shapes itself to match. This is why you must protect your inner space. Don't allow fear to take root. Don't entertain stories that contradict the love you're creating. Return again and again to the feeling of being cherished. As this feeling deepens, your person begins to behave differently around you. They may speak to you with more softness. They may initiate more conversations. They may show more interest in your life. They may look at you with a warmth that wasn't there before. These shifts are not random. They are direct reflections of the new state you occupy inside yourself. You are rewriting the script of your connection through imagination. You are choosing the version of them who loves you. You are choosing the version of you who is loved. And consciousness responds without resistance, because love is the most natural expression of the human heart. Soon, the moments you once imagined in silence begin unfolding in reality. The glances, the conversations, the closeness, the affection. What began in the unseen starts to take form in the physical. Not because you chased it, but because you aligned yourself with it. And your person won't even realize why their feelings grew so deeply. They will simply know that being near you feels right, that thinking of you feels comforting, that loving you feels inevitable. In the end, everything comes back to the simple truth that love begins within you. When you choose the inner feeling of being valued, wanted, and cherished, the world rises to meet that choice. The person you desire feels your warmth long before they speak it. They feel your certainty before they show it. They feel your love before they express their own. Stay loyal to that inner state because it is the quiet foundation upon which deep, lasting connection is built. Hold that feeling close, walk with it gently, and watch how the love you imagined becomes the love that unfolds right in front of you.